Bill O'Reilly wrote about spending an evening as a fly on the wall watching Trump as he readies for his return to office at Mar-a-Lago. He writes, Donald Trump is perhaps the best prepared new president in history. He is laser locked on fulfilling his campaign promises and has not refined his outlook. He's likely to dust his critics and govern without subterfuge. Americans will know exactly how the president uses power on a daily basis. Some will not like that. Donald Trump doesn't care much. Bill O'Reilly joins us now. Host of the No Spin News, BillO'Reilly.com, author of Confronting the President's No Spin Assessments from Washington to Biden. Bill, always good to see you. Welcome back. You make the point that he's the best prepared because he's done the job before. 45th president, soon to be the 47th president. What did you denote that he has learned that will change how he approaches day one, January 20th, 2025 versus January 20th, 2017?
Okay, let me set it up. So I was on vacation out in California with my son, and I got a summons to go to Mar-a-Lago to see the president. I have met 9 presidents, Leland. This is my 50th anniversary of being in journalism, January 2025. And when a president says, hey, come on over, you go on over. So I, instead of flying L.A. to New York back, I flew L.A. to Miami. And you don't really want to go to Miami Airport unless you have to. Hopped in a car and drove up to Mar-a-Lago. Now, when I got there, I had no idea why I had been asked to come. Now, I've known Donald Trump 35 years. I think I amuse him at times, kind of like you know, once in a while I amuse you. And I knew I was going to get dinner. I'm not going to drive all the way up there. So his aide, very nice staff, ushers me into a cabinet meeting, a literal cabinet meeting. And I have a chair. To my left was Stephen Miller and Peter Navarro. To my right was Howard Lutnick. And then there were 3 other guys I did not know. I arrived in the middle of the tariff discussion. And for the first 10 minutes or so, I kind of listened about what was going on. And I can tell you with certainty that 8 years ago, Donald Trump really didn't know what he was looking at as president of the United States. And he leaned on people for advice and to tell him what the structure was. That's gone. He knows exactly what the job is, and he knows exactly what he wants to do to fulfill his campaign promises. One example, the tariffs. The tariffs are designed to get more American companies to make their stuff in the USA. That's what they're designed to do, particularly Apple in China. Apple is a huge part of revitalizing the U.S. economy as it makes most of its product in China.
Right.
Trump wants it back here. He also wants a fair deal from Europe. And he is a very tough negotiator, Donald Trump. So that's where I walked in on that. And then the conversation for the next 40 minutes spanned the globe.
Okay. One thing Donald Trump really cared about, he said he didn't, but he did, is 2017, he really cared what the New York Times and Meet the Press said about him, right? Talked to Maggie Haberman all the time, on and on and on. Talked to Woodward for the books all the time. Does Donald Trump may know all these things, right, and understand how Washington works now, but is his outlook on the media, specifically caring what established media, mainstream media, whatever you want to call them, says and thinks about him, has that changed?
I don't know if it's changed or not. He always seeks approval from people. He always believes he can persuade them to see his point of view. What has changed is that Donald Trump destroyed the corporate media, as he did the Democratic Party. There is no leadership in the Democratic Party. Senator Schumer, the minority leader, made a fool of himself on Meet the Press yesterday by saying that Joe Biden was a brilliant president. It was a fool. He looked foolish, all right? There's no leadership in that party. Not only was Kamala Harris defeated, the whole party fell apart. And the media, which supported the Democratic Party, has fallen apart as well. What Donald Trump is asking me, and this was not in the cabinet meeting, this was at dinner afterward. I spent 3 hours there, was which media is ascendant and which media is through. And I told him.
Fair enough. In terms of his outlook on things, incoming White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles talking to Axios. I don't welcome people who want to work solo or be a star. Wiles, whose boss calls her the Ice Maiden, said by email, "My team and I will not tolerate backbiting, second-guessing inappropriately, or drama. These are counterproductive to the mission." Has Donald Trump changed? Will he allow a chief of staff to run the White House, or is he still going to run things by social media post as he sees fit?
I don't know that as well. I do know that Ms. Wiles is a very effective administrator. And if he had had her in the first term, he would have been reelected, in my opinion. There was too much turbulence back and forth. I also know that what Ms. Wiles is putting forth is impossible. The first year of every single presidential administration has been a bloodbath behind the scenes, and this one will be too. It's not going to be in public, but inside the White House, people are going to try to stab each other to death, not literally, but figuratively. They are seeking power. That's why they're there. And if you're a competitor, they will try to harm you. It's like the media, Leland. Same thing happens in television news. All right, we both know it.
Yeah?
So whatever Susie Wiles wants isn't necessarily going to happen. What will happen is more discipline. You're not going to have people go out and say, well, I don't agree with President Trump.
Well, look, Republicans did in
Congress.
Congress.
Going to disagree with Donald Trump.
Republicans in Congress certainly did.
What about Congress?
In December.
Yeah,
look,
that's a separate entity.
He's got, what, 3 votes in the Republican Congress to spare, maybe, to get this big, beautiful bill through and all of these priorities and do it through reconciliation so you don't have to get to 60 in the Senate, okay? When you talk to him, how much does he realize that he's going to have to cave and negotiate, even with his own party, on a lot of these issues?
Well, he's cognizant of how it works. I told him the moment I stepped in, and he would ask me questions, by the way. I never volunteer information to the President of the United States, ever.
What was the most important question he asked you?
He said, what do you think Johnson's going to make it? I said, yeah, he's in. And of course, that was Thursday night, and Friday's in. Now, he understands the margin of error here. Everybody does. But what he's going to try to do is the carrot and the stick, all right? So if you support me, even on bills you're a little tenuous on, I'll help you out. That's how it's going to work. Whether that's successful or not with some of the Republicans, I'm not sure. But he certainly comes in a very, very strong position. The strongest position of any president since maybe JFK. That's how strong Trump's position is. Yeah.
Interesting comparison. Bill, we will leave it there. I would encourage everybody, BillO'Reilly.com for the column. I got an advanced look at it over the weekend. It was absolutely fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you, Leland. Happy New Year.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.